on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about a horror movie called Frogs. I bought this for $1 at my local pawn shop. I saw it on the shelf, I looked at it, I actually put it back on the shelf, and then I reconsidered for two reasons. One, the tagline of this movie made me laugh. The tagline is, today the pond, tomorrow the world. I thought that was really funny. I thought there is no way that this movie is going to try to be serious with that tagline. This looks like it's going to be maybe a little bit more of a serious version of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, where you take something that is completely non-threatening and then try to do a horror comedy based on that. I thought that was what they were going to do. The second thing, the thing that actually made me buy this, this movie stars Sam Elliott. This is one of his earlier acting roles, and this movie is actually kind of interesting historically speaking, because Sam Elliott goes shirtless at one point. Because of that, he got a role in a movie I've never heard of before called The Lifeguard, which was a pretty pivotal moment in Sam Elliott's career, I believe. But then also this movie, if you have ever seen or heard of the Alfred Hitchcock movie The Birds, well then you probably know what is going on in Frogs. Basically the same premise as The Birds, except done much worse. And apparently Stephen King watched this movie, and this inspired him to do something with a terrarium of reptiles in the book The Shining. I have not read the book The Shining, so I have no idea what the terrarium is, because that was not in the movie, but this is, like I said, historically very interesting. If you are aware of the book The Shining, and you are a fan of Sam Elliott as an actor, then you might want to know more about this movie. I cannot imagine that there's any circumstances where you would actually want to watch this movie unless you really like Sam Elliott's body from the 1970s. Basically, the two big ways that this differs from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Before watching The Birds, if you told me that birds are scary or threatening, I would have said, haha, no they're not. And then you watch The Birds, and it's like, oh yeah, they can be scary. The problem with this movie is that by the end, frogs are still not scary. Somebody said, what if we did The Birds but with frogs? But then they realized that there's not really a whole lot that you can do to make frogs scary. And so they widened their net a little bit, and they said it's all reptiles. And so you have frogs that show up in this movie, but not a single one of them does anything menacing at all. Anytime a human being dies or gets killed by reptiles, it's always something else, like a snake or a crocodile. I want to say that's mainly it. There are other reptiles here, but I think mostly it's snakes and crocodiles that do the deeds. But that was part of it, is that when you see the cover and you see the tagline, you think, oh, a horror movie where frogs are the bad guys, that sounds hilarious. And then the movie more or less tries to play itself straight, and so that was a little disappointing, because I was expecting something a little bit more winky, like, haha, yeah, we know this is really stupid, just go along with us, but it's playing itself straight, and I felt like it didn't really work trying to do that. But also, with a movie called Frogs, you expect frogs to play more of a role in this movie, and they don't. The other way that this differs from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, I haven't seen that movie since I was in high school, but there are, I think, 3 or 4 main characters who are basically trapped in a house while all the birds go crazy and are killing people outside. And you get to know those 3 or 4 main characters, and you feel like you know who they are by the end of the movie. This movie has, I am not exaggerating, about 15 people who are at this mansion somewhere in Florida. Basically, the plot is Sam Elliott is a photographer, I think a photojournalist, and then he accidentally gets knocked in the lake by these other 2 people, and so they give him a lift back to the guy's dad's mansion so that he can get a change of clothes. And then while he's there, the dad who owns the place, it's his like 70th birthday or something like that, and this is when all of the reptiles start going crazy. And you don't get to know any of these characters because there are so many characters, and I am not exaggerating, it's over 10 characters here, to the point where anytime a character would die, I would find myself saying something along the lines of, I thought he already died, or who is this? Who is this character? Have we met them yet? Or wait a minute, I thought this character was over here doing this thing. There were several examples where I would say something like that, like, wait a minute, I thought he already died, or something along those lines. And you don't want that whenever you are watching a horror movie, and you are supposed to feel something something when these characters died, and all I felt was confusion. And by the end, we get something similar to the birds, where your last few characters have to try and make a run for it and get out of here, but I just felt nothingness at the end because I had only felt confusion throughout the entire movie. It's really, at the end, they get picked up. I'm going to spoil it because who cares? It's the movie Frogs. At the end, our main characters who are still alive get picked up in a car, and then the kid in the front, he says, "Hey, look, I have a pet frog." And then it, like, zooms in on the frog, like, that's a really scary moment. And I said to myself, it's not scary because frogs haven't done anything in this entire movie. They just sat around and watched all the other reptiles do stuff. So if you would like to watch a worse version of Alfred Hitchcock's Birds, then I think you will highly enjoy Frogs. If you want to see Sam Elliott in one of his earliest leading roles, you will probably enjoy Frogs. I did not enjoy this movie. I don't have anything against Sam Elliott, but I am not just lusting after every movie that he's in like some people. I didn't really enjoy this movie. I didn't even like it on a "this is so hilarious that it's really bad" kind of way. I was hoping that that was what it was going to be. The cover definitely looks like that, and it didn't even deliver there. So I was disappointed with this movie, but maybe you will find something else to like about it. So that is about all that I have to say about Frogs. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, I will see you guys in the future with some more. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.